Hello.
Aye.
Okay, we're live.
Okay. I see we got 16 participants and 17 on the way up. So I will call the meeting of the Irvington Architecture Review Board to order. And as is usually the case, we will start with continuations, move on to revisions, and then go on to new items. We will keep the historic demo addition at 20 Elm Park for last, as that will require probably a bit of conversation. Okay, so as everybody can hear me, I will ask that everybody, when it's your turn to, when you hear your address and name called, we will ask you to raise your hand, and Sarah will open your link, and then we'd ask you to share your computer with the project application, and we need to know ahead of time if in fact that's not going to be the case, because we waste a considerable amount of time by not doing that ahead of time. Okay, we will start with the first continuation, 21-102, 23 Hudson Ave, and it's an addition. Anything, Sarah?
Yes, I just let the architect on.
Okay. We are muted, if that's the architect.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. I think the owner's also probably waving his hand, Perry Lopez.
I see it. Sarah, have you opened them, or well, I see you must have, because it's on, you must have.
Yes, he's a panelist, but he's on.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Okay, and you are, please tell us your name and who you represent.
My name is Louis Saiz Jr. I'm an architect of record, and I'm representing Perry Lopez. He will be participating in this presentation for 23 Hudson Avenue. I'm going to share my screen.
Please do.
Okay, the last time we were in front of the board, there were quite a few comments that we had to address. One was adding a window schedule to the whole project. There was also a recommendation about the gable end of the roof, so the corbels could be easier cut and sided, so that was addressed. The window schedule was added to the bottom side of the drawing. And as you can see, all the elevation, oops, something happened. For some reason, the letters got turned off on this elevation, but the rest of the elevations do have the symbols for the window schedule. Another item that was requested, which on my part I forgot, was they wanted to see what the fence would look like in elevation from the street. And this over here is the elevation, because the property slopes to the back of the rear property line, the height of the fence when it aligns with the side of the house will be approximately 3 feet in height. So this is what you're going to be seeing from the street elevation. And basically that's all I'm going to be presenting. Perry did the research on materials and cost, and he's going to be sharing his screen to show you what he's come up with. Basically, he's addressing some of the materials. He has photographs of it, and he also has a alternative for the fencing that he's proposing around the property. A little bit more contemporary to kind of fit in with the vernacular of the design.
Okay.
Perry, go ahead.
I think you have to stop sharing before he can share.
Okay. Let me see if I can figure that out.
Before you get off
There
that,
you go.
never mind.
Oops. You want me to go back?
Well, I just didn't know whether or not anybody had any additional questions on your part of it. I guess we can go back. Now that you're off, we can go back. Mr. Lopez. Oh, there you go. So, okay.
I don't think I saw the street view of the fence.
The street view of the fence?
Didn't you say that was an elevation from the street view?
Well, there's no fence going along the street. The fence only runs along the side property lines and the rear. So basically what you're going to see from the street is just a line, a vertical line of the fence. You're really not going to see it going across.
Not going passing.
Okay. And was
Is
there
there
any
anything
other,
else?
were there any other questions? Okay. Why don't we have the?
All right, Perry, I'm going to stop sharing. You could share your screen. Perry, you there?
You're muted, Perry.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yep,
now.
now we
All right,
go.
good evening. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to share this. Bear with me
If
one
you put your
second.
cursor on the screen, you'll see a share screen button in green on the bottom.
Yeah.
So click that.
Now I have to find it, correct?
Uh-huh.
Um, why is that not allowing me?
Perry, you want me to open it up and you just talk?
Yeah, if you could. I can't seem to find it where I saved it. I saved it on my desktop, but I can't open it.
All right, stop sharing, and then I'll,
He's not sharing. I don't think he's sharing it at this
No,
point.
I'm not sharing, Lou.
all
All
right,
right.
here we go.
Perfect. Thank you, Lou.
There you go, Perry.
Okay, thank you. So in the last meeting, the questions that we talked about was the James Hardy siding. So they wanted to see you guys wanted to see the option for the James Hardy siding. So I have the Arctic white, which is pictured there. And then also the brick, the gray brick, the picture of the gray brick, which is pictured to show you the color of the brick that we're going to use.
Okay.
So that was a big point of conversation last time, whether we were going to go with the vinyl siding or the James Hardy siding. So we had talked about the possibility of just doing the front of the house in the Hardy siding, as well as the front of the garage, and possibly allowing me to do the sides and the back in regular vinyl siding. So I don't know if that's still an option or not. The other question on the next slide would be the fencing. And it was suggested that well, this is more of a modern look. My first choice would be the gray fence to the left. Obviously, it all depends on availability when I get to that point of, in stock, all that good stuff. But that would be my first choice to the left.
Okay.
Gives it a little bit more of a modern look.
Okay.
The next screen is pictures. They requested pictures of where the fence would run. So that's currently where the driveway is. The fence would run down on the left side. And then the other picture is the right side in the middle of the property zone to the front edge of the house. And it goes, both of them go up in grade.
Okay. And it
And
would be
then the
that,
last
and it would be that
picture.
wooden,
Oh,
that wooden
sorry.
fence that you showed in the second screen, right?
Yes,
All the way down and including the back?
Correct.
Okay.
so it will run to the back and then across to the garage.
Okay.
And you remind us what happens in front?
It stays open.
Okay,
Yeah, the fence just runs here. It doesn't come back to the house on either side. So it just runs to the backyard. And then this is the garage in the back. And go ahead,
Yeah,
Perry.
this is the option that I picked for the garage doors. A little bit more modern to tie in with the front of the house. I think it gives a nice look. So I don't have a second option, but I could if the board chose that they want to be looking at a different option. But that was the first one I thought was that fit the front of the house nicely.
do you have a manufacturer for that door?
You know, I've called a couple places and it's all based on availability. I don't have a manufacturer offhand, but I reached out to a couple door companies and some had it in stock, some could get it. But by the time I get to that point, you know, we're talking months out before I get to that point. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get it. That's what I was told.
But is there a brand on that fence that everybody's going to try to procure?
The brand on the fence, no, because of availability. He might have to go with different models based on what I'm trying to get, with different manufacturers. But you know, I can ask what brand it would be on the fence, and I can do the same on the door. It's just based on when it's time to order, what's available. You know, right now it's all about availability and when I go to order it.
This is wood fence?
It's a wood fence, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at a door, right? Oh, yeah.
That's the fence on the left. Okay.
You know, that was a suggestion of the board last time. One of the members mentioned about the more modern look on the front of the house, and I thought it was a great suggestion. And Lou gave me a couple ideas, and we were able to find that. I think it fits much better.
Perry, I think your color palette is terrific.
I agree.
Oh,
And
thank you.
the fence has a really nice touch, and thanks
Yep.
for getting away from the vinyl for the most part.
Yeah, that was issue number one was the fence was vinyl, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one we went to wood fence the last meeting, but it was up and down, and Lou suggested going this way, and it works perfect. It works much better.
I have almost the same fence in my backyard.
Oh, okay.
So I like it.
Thank you.
It's darker.
Anybody else have any questions, comments?
I think it looks fantastic. I'm really pleased at how much you took to heart some of the comments that were made, and I think you really have a fine design here. And congratulations to you and your architect in coming to this point in this design. You had raised one question that I'm curious what Mitch would think and how he would address it. But going back to the issue of the hardy board in the front and a different material on the side. I can't visualize how that works and how it comes together, but I'd like to hear what Mitch has to say. If you could comment on, is that a good strategy here in order to incorporate some hardy board from the front, or is that actually create too many problems and it's too much of a challenge?
I mean, I think it's doable. You know, obviously it's to save money, and I get that. One important thing I think that I would ask you to bring to us is get us a sample of that hardy board color and get us a sample of the vinyl siding color, just to make sure they don't, you know, if you miss like a little bit, it's going to really make your teeth hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's going to look worse than a wild difference. Many houses in America had like a front facade that was a fancy material like stone and whatever, and the side would just be something like brick. We've seen it a million times. This is kind of the same deal. It's not wouldn't be my first choice, but I understand the money question. So I would say an important thing is that the reveal on the vinyl siding has got to be the same as the hardy plank or vice versa. You're going to have probably more flexibility doing the hardy plank to match the vinyl, because the vinyl will come with preset exposures.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But then you would put a corner. There would definitely be a corner piece on the front, as it would be on the back, and you could transition to the vinyl. And I think it would be okay if it's done, carefully.
I was
So
thinking
is
the
that,
same
is
thing
that
that,
a, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was thinking that, if there's a board, sort of a board to set at the corner, so they're divided, so, and I
There
think,
always is with hardy anyway. Yeah.
yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like a AZAC or something like that. They sell them. Hardy makes their own, but anything that works for you is good. But again, the color match, like, figure it out now, okay, so that you can get it to us. And like I say, your hardy color is great. The worst case scenario, if you had to paint the hardy to match the vinyl, that's only a little bit of painting, and that paint will stay on that hardy plank for 25 years. So, it really sticks to that. So don't try to paint the vinyl, of course.
Right.
But so I think you could really make it work. And, if you had to tweak that color slightly, that'd be good. But it'd be great if we could see, if you actually even send out the actual color, the hardy color you're thinking about, that would be useful for us. Or, a hard sample, if it goes to the building department, we could go down and look at it or something like that. In the
Okay.
old days, you would bring samples to the ARB meeting, but not so easy now. So
Is this going to be something that would delay the approval?
Yes. If we go that route, yes.
Can I ask a question, Rick? I mean, in light of our charge of not getting too much into color, because
That was where I was going to.
yeah, I was gonna say, I would think what Mitch just said is what it would have to be framed more as a recommendation than a directive. Is that correct? Because it
I
is
believe-
color
yes.
related.
Yes, I do. I believe
Yeah.
you're correct on that.
Yeah. So in other words, what I think the position the ARB would be taking is that we can sign off on the hardy board with the vinyl siding, but with the caveat that the recommendation as articulated by Mitch is what the ARB is asking you to do, frankly. But we're not under our charge. We're not allowed to dictate what color you can pick. But he's talking, it kind of falls in a gray area because he's kind of talking about the materiality and the appearance of it as well. But so there's a fine line. So I would just suggest to you that if you can heed what Mitch is saying, you're going to have a better product and you're not going to run into any problems.
yeah, Perry, you'll be happy you did it.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to price it out both ways. And if it's not significant, then I might just go with the hardy
It
board.
will be.
I'm assuming it will be,
It's
but
going to
if
make your eyes water.
well, especially now, yeah. But I just want to make sure that if it's not going to hold up the process of moving forward, if it's going to hold up the process, then I'll just go forward with the hardy board. I'll just commit to that. I'd prefer to have this option if the board can approve that.
My understanding
Well,
is
I know I meant, whoops, sorry, Deb, go ahead.
as you say, my understanding is we can approve it, the hardy board in the front and the vinyl on the side. That is your choice. And the caveat being, which I like also hearing, that to the extent the vinyl doesn't match the hardy board exactly, you can go ahead and paint the hardy board in the front too, to make sure that it looks great. I mean, you don't want to, after all this work and all this good color thought, you're not going to go for something that clashes. So
Correct.
I don't think you're going to have a problem figuring this out personally.
Thank you.
So bad.
I just was gonna say, and Mitch, I don't know how you feel, but when you look at the vinyl siding, there's sort of a flat vinyl siding that really, that will look a lot better than the ones that try to imitate wood and have sort of a texture to them. So,
That's a good point as well.
So
yeah.
is the hardy plank that, hardy plank is also the same. It comes available in a smooth finish and it comes available in a textured finish. That looks like smooth to me, but
Correct.
Yeah, I
So-
think it's just a more upscale look for both.
yeah, I mean, I think it looks great. So,
Some nice choices. Should look beautiful.
Okay, so I think what we're talking about is accepting the application as it's been presented, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, do I have any further comments from the board? Okay, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
a second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Okay, we're good to go.
Thank
Great,
you very
thank you.
much.
Thank you, Mr.
Have a
Walker.
great evening.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on to the revision 21-38, 23 Matheson Park, Callahan, windows and doors.
If you're here to represent the application, if you can please hit the hand button.
Anything, Sarah?
Hello,
Oh,
Yes.
there we are. Okay,
I'm just getting my presentation together, so I'll be with you in a minute.
okay, no problem.
How are you tonight?
We're doing okay.
Good.
I should speak for myself.
Okay, one more. All right, let's see.
Are you trying to share your screen?
I will in just 1 minute. I'm
Okay.
just trying to pull the presentations together. So I apologize, they were. All righty. So this is for the fireplace or for the windows? Because I'm up for 2 applications and it sounded like you were going
You know
to
what?
have.
Actually, we can take both on at the same time.
Awesome, thank you.
Get you out of here.
That'd be great. See if this works. No, it's not working. All right, do you see an application up here? This was the original application for the some windows that we got approval on in April of last year.
What I see is not the application itself,
Mhm.
just the,
I'll try to stop the share again and try again. No, it says the participants can see an application. What do you see? Do you see
We see the site location map, Kathy.
Yeah, that's,
All right, that's good. Let's just
Maybe-
start.
okay.
See some pictures now?
Yep.
All right, good, it's working. So this is the location of the property. It's in Matheson Lane. It has, the area we're talking about is the side elevation and what I call a rear elevation, which is actually a side, but it's the back of the house. This is the application that we presented earlier. We asked for removal of 2 windows on the second floor and removal of 1 window down here. Why we're back is that we had initially planned on having a single door around the corner, placing some windows with some taller windows, and then we had a smaller room that we were putting against this elevation that needed a window being chopped in half, or coming up with a solution of making sort of a window and a shutter and that type of thing. What we've done though, since then, we've reworked the interior layout, has been reworked a little bit. And see, this is it.
Have you been back to the planning board for the changes?
The change of the windows, we only had to go to you guys.
Yep.
And the fireplace one, we did go to the zoning and the planning board.
Okay.
Okay, this is I have a better picture of this, but this is the same elevation. There were no changes on the side where your fireplace is popping up, but this is what we asked to do. We're keeping these. This is 2 windows that were here. We're going to gang them together, center them under the window, which was the big thing that the ARB talked to us about. And then we're going to, instead of having a single door around the corner, this is a small porch. As you can see here, this is the existing window, the existing door. Where these 3 windows are, we plan on placing them with a pair of windows mimicking this window to the T, transom over it, and a single door underneath. So this is the change that we're asking for the kitchen windows. It's a revision to a previously approved submission.
Mitchell, what say you?
I think it looks good. It makes sense to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else, before we
I'm
go
sorry.
on, anybody else have any questions, concerns? Okay. On to the fireplace.
Under the fireplace, let's see what this one says. It says fireplace. Okay.
Hey,
So
Kathy,
this- yeah.
Can you go back? What's that? Is there a mechanical device above the window in that picture? What's
here?
that on,
The black,
in the photograph?
the black square?
Yeah, is
Oh,
that
that-
like a,
That's a external blower for a kitchen exhaust, and that'll
So-
go away.
is that gonna now be in the way, or is it gonna be relocated? It looks like it's gonna conflict with the shutter.
The whole space is being reconfigured, and that
Ah.
it's gonna be not in that location. So it's gonna
Great,
be fine.
okay, good, good.
Even better.
Yeah. Fireplace then is, this has been to the planning board, the zoning board, so we're on our last trek for approvals.
Okay.
We went to the zoning board for a square footage coverage issue. It's a fireplace. I'll get to the fireplace. There's one that exists right here. This one is being put in the family room. This is the window that had been initially approved to be removed. This, we've asking for these windows to be removed. I'm gonna have to dig around for some photos real quick that show this. Here we go. So this is the side that it's on. You can see the existing fireplace. Where these 2 windows are is where the second fireplace is going to go. It actually extends over an areaway. So it comes off like this one does, just about a little bit below the first floor level. And we're going to mimic the same type of materials, the stucco, and that's pretty much what we're doing. It's a small addition, adding a nice fireplace to make a room be much more cozier and useful for the family.
So from the roof line up, or with the other chimney, you're using the same materials as that other chimney?
Yeah.
is obviously from the roof line up.
Yeah. The
Okay,
issue, the thing is the chimney pots are clay, and I may need to use a shroud of a metal, and that's what I need to work out with the fireplace folks. But it's going to be this, the same height, same everything.
Can you zoom on that, Kathy?
Sure. You're asking me the difficult things.
the plus sign.
No, it's underneath all this controls
Oh,
for
okay.
this. I got it now.
All right.
So it's just a rectangle in metal, in a galvanized or what?
They make them, they're difficult to source out. These are just chimney pots, with the flue gas going straight up. These guys have kind of like a little cover over them. So it's probably going to be more like a rounded doghouse, which is going to help the sparks and whatever else stop spraying around. I don't have an example of it.
Is it in a elevation on the west elevation or the section or something? Is it like an arch?
Yeah. I can get the manufacturer's information and show it to you in a second. So
That'd be good.
okay. Give me a second. I will do that.
I think that chimney could use a little bit also. Is that a stucco finish on a wood frame chimney?
Yeah, it'll be, it's basically, it's a prefab box and it's the flue going up. And so it's not the box is, the size of it is to relate to the other fireplace.
I understand. So could you talk your clients into putting some articulation at the top, like the way the corbel brick, or is it, maybe that is brick on the other one? I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll show you. I can show you the picture of that. And it's just
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I apologize. I was looking for these things. They were hiding from me today.
We just want them to spend more money. Just kidding. Not allowed to say that.
That is your goal, right? Sorry about this, folks.
And Kathy, the irregular base of the chimney, what's that about? Is that just to offset the flue or something like that?
What? Let me
Over
get to
the
that.
window?
Let me get that in a second, Mitch.
All right.
We'll get there.
I'll be good.
Thanks. Thank you. Let me find this specifications. Yeah, there's a little bit of articulation on that. Let me grab this. Here we go. This is what I want. This Zoom thing gets in the way. All right. I'm going to show you the first thing you requested, which were the chimney tops. All right. Share this one. Do you see this at all or not? You do?
I see the arch mailbox style shroud.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great. Yeah, so these started out. So the shrouds are what they require. And so they're going to be, they come up with the different things to protect the flue. But then they have a house, dog house kind of thing like this. And the arch mailbox one, which I thought might be where we had. Pyramid would be another one. This could be a nice option as well. So these are going to be fit to the size of the chimney that we have when we come up. So I was thinking this one, But these are, if you guys have any other option, any other thoughts, I'd be happy to hear them.
Well, whichever one you decide on, you need to decide on before we make a decision, because once we make a decision, it's based on what you're presenting.
But I would say the arched mailbox is what we would choose. This one.
Okay.
So does that length and width align exactly with the rectangle of the chimney?
It will align. Yeah. It'll be a custom one, custom sized, but the style.
So in my opinion, it would look better with an articulated flare at the top, or, some kind of cap underneath that would like be a shadow line, sort of like, and obviously there's a waterproofing issue that I just created because now water's sitting on that.
Yeah, but they come up with a sort of a receiver for those shrouds, so it is set off a little bit.
I don't see it. I mean, unless you're showing it to me. That
it would be, no, I just look to see how it gets set on that. No, I misunderstand. So the shrouds field fabricated, so they go.
I guess that's the chase top flashing is what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is all flashed up, and then the shroud sits over it. So I don't see how. I thought they had a section showing the whole thing together, but they don't.
is there any way you could come back with that, or is that gonna like screw you up?
It's something that would be problem. This will not be something we have a choice in. I mean, the system will come together the way it comes together. I mean, we're going to use a termination cap because that's what's keeping it safe. The shrouds and aesthetic thing. I mean, we can try to make that joint, but I think it's going to be their niche. It's just the best information that I had on the shrouds that were allowed.
And you say it's a matter of a code change, or it's just what's the regulations are allowing?
What, between the chimney pots and this?
Yeah.
It's what the manufacturer recommends.
Oh.
So, yeah. So I don't know if maybe the other one was a different type of fireplace.
Can you scroll up so we can look at this this one?
Yeah. So I'll call this the shroud requirements.
I mean,
so here's the over.
This one looks a little bit more like the other chimney pots than the mailbox. But maybe it's not appropriate for another reason.
So this is the flashing, this chimney cap. And the shroud goes over it from what I understand. So it's that stuff gets covered over because this is basically acting as a shield.
Okay. Where are we standing here with this? Is this, I mean, if we're going to approve it, or if it has any chance of approval, I have to know, what it is that we're approving. So that one does that one shows. All it shows is all it shows is that top shroud.
But you can say that we will imitate this. Scrolling.
Imitate.
We can imitate this flare and at the top before, and then work a detail with the shroud's going to be not visible from the ground. It's,
Right.
you know, it's got this kind of thing where that one picture I showed you, the photographs,
Uh-huh.
you know, where it's,
Yeah, I agree that that flare should be typical on both.
yeah, we'll definitely do that. And then we'll come up with a shroud that is the no greater in height if we can do it than this. So
Well,
it's
yeah, you're gonna have to, you definitely have to worry about that for your code issues.
Yeah. And for the photographs. Here we go. Yeah, so here.
Mhm.
It cuts it off.
This is the north elevation and, no, that's the south
This
elevation.
is the south elevation, yeah.
So that's without that chimney, or am I
Yeah,
missing?
Yeah, this
No,
is
that's
where
right.
the chimney will go right there.
Right. All right, well. I don't want to beat it to death. If anybody else has an opinion about it, speak up.
Anybody?
Everybody fell asleep.
I think your comments are all valid. I agree with what you're saying, and I understand what the architect's trying to achieve and what she's representing she'll try to do.
Yeah, all right, let's move on then.
Okay, well then we'll go back. First to approve the ARB 21-38, which is the window and doors. Do I have a second? I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Hello. All
We're in.
approved? Everybody approved?
Approved, yeah.
Aye.
Yes.
Denials? Okay, we're good. Okay, 5-0. Now, I guess this 22-10 will require a conditional approval, and the conditional approval will be to imitate the flare on the new chimney as found on the existing chimney.
Yep.
Anybody else?
I'll second that. That's,
Okay. That was a motion.
On that
Do I have a
condition.
second? Do I have a, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Abstentions? We are good to go on both,
Thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
right?
yes,
Okay,
Thank you.
yep, thank you. Now we have a, the first new item, well, the second new item actually. 22-08, 75 North Broadway, exterior elevation change. No. You're on mute. You're muted.
How's that?
That's better.
Okay, good. My name is Bill Witt, the original architect for the deck addition at 75 North Broadway. I submitted a letter during construction. My client, the contractor, made a couple of minor adjustments to the project. I'll share my screen with you if I may.
Please do.
Okay, so I hope you're able to see this. If you look here at the rear deck, the original approved deck had the first rise down occurring here at the rail. And for structural layout reasons, they changed it. So now the steps just start here and go down right, go down left. It's deck's essentially the same size, same layout, no real change, just switched to where the step was located. The other minor change was there was an existing window here that we were proposing to put in a double glass door. But for structural purposes, money purposes, privacy purposes, they decided to put a single glass door in its location. So this is the back of the house where they put in a single glass door, replacing a window versus a double glass door replacing a window.
Okay.
And those were the changes. There was a slight adjustment to the walkway that was addressed at the planning board last month's meeting.
Bill, do you have that in the elevation,
Sure.
the door?
There you go. So it's just a full light glass door.
Just changes the whole spirit of it. No, it looks fine. Just kidding. To me.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it. Anybody, questions, concerns?
No.
No.
I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nobody. Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Yeah.
Okay, now we go to 22-09, 16 North Astor Street. And it's about solar panels.
How do you do?
How you doing?
Great. My name is Doug Hertz from Sunrise Solar Solutions. We are the solar installer for this project, and I will share my screen and we can, now I can go through it. Okay. Hopefully you're seeing a set of plans.
Yeah,
Not yet.
I see your
Your
screen,
desktop.
your
No.
desktop.
Being the wrong desktop then. Let me go back. I'm going to stop sharing and look at it, look for a different desktop.
Sometimes it'll say more windows.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
You're seeing it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. So this is at 16 North Astor. Just to orient you, this is on where my cursor is. This is the building currently under construction, directly across the street from the train station. So if you're familiar, and you have approved, the renovation portion of this.
Yep.
Building is 3 stories.
Enthusiastically approved, I might add.
Yeah, it's a beautiful project. We're very pleased to be part of this. It's a 3-story project with a flat roof, and we are proposing to install panels more or less flat to the roof, slightly tilted up, and I'll show you that in a moment, in the areas shown on the left here. And this photo sort of shows you where you are. I'll go through just quickly. I think you all know the area well, but a series of photos just getting you oriented in case there are any questions. I can go through this quickly because I think you all understand this well. Again, train station, neighboring buildings, and up and down the street.
Right.
So what we're proposing to do, so we've had, basically we flew a drone way up high and have done a couple of renders. So we're looking to install panels in precisely, almost exactly these locations. We had to wait until they had precisely located those skylights or those light tubes to get that all right, make sure we had the proper clearances. Here's a different angle, essentially of the same process. So we've shown it to you from 2 angles. And this is what we've done here is just given you different views of what this essentially looks like. So the panels are laid down on an aluminum racking system that sits just, inches above the roof surface. They're tilted up ever so slightly to the south, and at about 5 degrees. And you can get a sense of what that looks like. These are a fairly good representation of what the overall project would look like.
So essentially, if there was going to be a reflection from any of these panels, it would be being reflected into the side of a building and not into anybody's living room.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get a reflection when you're this flat.
Right.
The sun has to be almost down at setting time.
Right.
So it would be sort of similar, if you would, to those moments where you're getting you know, a reflection off the Hudson, you know, which you do get for a few moments. But because it's almost flat, very, very similar to what the river would be doing there. So there could be moments where you get a reflection or two. But what we've done, so this will orient you a little bit. So we've done some line of sights just so you get a better sense. Again, there are two buildings that have the possibility of seeing this rooftop surface. Here we are at 16. You have this building up here, which I'll show you, and this building over here.
Right.
So we'll go down to some line of sights. And what we did is basically ran some elevations. So here we are again, here's the rooftop. We have elevation A, and I'll bring them over in 1 second, elevation B. Elevation A, if I come over, we're looking at heights of buildings. So edge of the building, certainly from anywhere on the ground or whatnot, it's completely blocked by parapets and sides of buildings. If you get all the way up to the 3rd floor, you do have a sort of a glancing view. Again, this is 110 feet from edge to edge, you know, or from this edge to this edge. And you do have, you know, tilting down at a couple of degrees, you could see, you know, a glancing view of that roof surface. Similarly, building line of sight D, which is only this, there's a single window on the 4th floor here, up in the attic that does have kind of, again, a glancing view of this. You know, you're seeing most of that roof on edge. And again, you'll see these panels on edge if you see them at all. So I think that's my presentation. I'll just give you, if you have any more questions, I can pull up the building plans, or not the building plans, but the plans of the.
One of the things that I wanted to add is that if in fact there's no significant parapet, that the panels have to be 4 feet back off the edge of that parapet, which they clearly are, both arrays. So I think you've addressed the issues that we have in our own code very well. And once again, because they're angled to the south, they're really not, you know, I mean, they'll be seen by the two people that you've mentioned already, but I don't necessarily find them to be offensive for sure.
Can I just ask a question? Are they actually blue?
So they're a blue black. I mean, those photos obviously accentuate the blue, but they're essentially monosilicon panels, which are, you know, closer to a gray black, and there are polysilicon panels and versions of them which have more of a blue black to them. So these lean towards the blue black.
And the roof, is it a tarred roof or a silvered roof, or?
The roof, I believe, is a black EPDM.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody else?
It's a black membrane. I forget what the.
Yeah.
EPDM.
And so what if you have to resurface a roof once you put these on?
So typically what we do, in this case, the roof is brand new. And the lifespan of a roof is very, very similar to the lifespan of solar panels. So once we install at the same time as a new roof, we typically think that both systems are going to have functionally a 25-year lifespan. The areas on roofs that typically begin to fail are areas, for instance, you know, around flashing areas. They don't tend to fail in the field. That's where the seams are. So areas that need to be reflashed, where there might be curbing or some, you know, intersection around the edge, those are still accessible and can be maintained. And the areas in the field, if you will, you know, they're largely covered by solar panels. They don't get the same level of wear and tear because they are, you know, they're not quite as exposed. So we expect that 25 years from now, there'll probably have been a little bit of maintenance on the flashings that are exposed on the roof. And then, you know, in that time frame, I mean, 25, hopefully 35 years, but I'm going to be conservative and say 25, that'll probably be time for new everything.
So you're calling it a new roof, but I know it's a very old building, and I know that typically they're resealed. And so when you call it a new roof, did they take off anything that was below it, or they just redid it, or
I don't have that answer off the top, but I've been up on the roof and it's brand new. The membrane is brand new.
Okay.
So but I
just
don't have
wondered,
the answer.
on
I
a
don't have
flat
the
roof
answer.
like this, if you had to, a shingle, I would think might be easier to slip in and out. So, yeah. So, no, I think you have a good point. Probably it would be where it's sealed at the edges and, around anything.
That's our experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
I had a couple. I just was curious. You have two arrays with 40 panels divided 25 and 15. When you say that they're slightly tilted 5 degrees, does that mean all 40 are slightly tilted? Or does that mean?
So I'm gonna, yes. So let me go back to this image if I may. So, and I'll blow this up right here. So I don't know if you can still see my screen. So this is typically what happens. Each panel sits on its own little racking system. Can you see this?
I can.
Okay. So again, south would be to the left of screen, and there's just an ever so slight tilt towards the south. So, and then there's a gap so that the sun doesn't, we get a little bit of a, not a shading from this back at top of this to the lower edge of this. And then that repeats.
Understood.
That makes sense.
And at any point, is the homeowner able to tilt it further? So it goes up to 10 degrees or 15 or more?
You can, no, there's nothing there to be able to tilt it. We can pivot the panels to be able to service them. So there's a pivot at the front, and you can unlatch this back area, tilt the panel up to be able to get under it, to rewire it, or to change some electronics. But on a permanent basis, you reaffix it to here. So no, this isn't meant to be tiltable at different angles. And what happens, particularly when we're this close to the river, in the special wind zone, we try to keep panels under very, very low tilt, because otherwise we have, tremendous wind issues that we're going to have to deal with. So.
Okay. And for the two properties, as you called them, A and B, on Astor and Buckout, Rick, I assume that there was proper notice given to
Well,
those.
before I was going to open up the public hearing, I was going to ask if, in fact, in the body of the application that they show us the fact that the people in the surrounding area were noticed.
So we have done that notification, and we did work with the building department to do that. I don't have that documentation here. I'm working from my home office tonight.
Sarah, do you have it? Or just verify that you have received it?
We received it.
Okay. It's good enough for me.
Okay, that's great. And then my last question was, you showed us who could possibly be impacted in terms of immediate neighbors. What about further up the hill? Do you have is there any sense from anybody on the board, or even from you as a representative? I mean, we all know that Irvington slopes down. Are these panels going to be visible from any other spot from somebody who lives up the hill?
Well, I got to tell you, I went and looked at that, and in fact, I wasn't even aware that the building to the north was involved. But I know the only other those two little small houses on North Buckout were the only things that I could see that would be immediately affected. I mean, other than the post office.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, the only thing when we stood up there, the only thing we could really identify in terms of windows that had any visibility would be here, and I think it's here. You've got the post office there.
Right.
Got the corner of this building juts out pretty far in the back, so it does block that.
From North Buckout, you can't see that, but thank you for bringing that up.
Okay. Okay. Those were really my only three concerns. And if notice was properly given and building departments verified that, I'm comfortable with the array and the arrangement.
Any other questions, concerns from the board?
What's your projection for the amount of power that they'll get? Will they have excess or adequate, or?
Well, there's going to be there's electric car charging inside. And the home is entirely being heated and cooled and everything else using electricity. As you're probably seeing, because of the moratorium on gas, et cetera, et cetera. So we expect that we're trying to get to carbon neutral, to net zero on the home. A little bit hard to model because it's an old building that's being retrofitted. There's been a lot of energy modeling done on it, but until we really have usage data, hard to know. But that's what we're attempting. What the homeowner has asked us to do is to try to be net zero. So with electric car charging, with cooking, air conditioning, heating, et cetera, that's where we hope to be.
Great.
Anybody else? Okay, I will now open the public hearing on this matter. ARB 22-09, solar panels. Sarah, do we have anybody raising their hand?
Nobody's raising their hand to speak, and there are no comments in the chat.
Okay. Okay, well, I will then make a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the solar panel application for 60 North Astor Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody? Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, so we did 22-10. That was 23 Matheson Park. We will then move to 22-11, 31 Maple Street, addition. Sarah, anybody?
Yes, the architect is here.
Okay, thank you. Greg, you're on mute. Yeah.
Hi. You
How we
hear me?
doing?
Good,
Yeah.
good. Sorry, hang on a second. Let me just there. Hi,
There
here
we
I
go.
am.
How we doing?
Good, good. I guess let me share my screen.
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Greg Sharp. I'm representing the Lukash family as they are trying to put a small addition onto the rear of the house. We've already been through the planning board and the zoning board, and we're here tonight to present the project architecturally. It's the existing house is a small house on Maple Street. It currently contains a one single bathroom. So the original concept of the project was to add some more bathrooms. They're a family of four and with small children. So as their family's growing, they need a little bit more room. And so we've done some interior renovations as well as adding some restrooms. This is the streetscape along. There are no changes to the front of the house, and the only visible additions will be to the rear of the house. There's interior changes, but all of the architectural changes are to the rear. Our proposal is to add a small addition onto the rear, and as well as a small patio around it, and the existing driveway, the existing front yard, and everything will remain the same. We tried to work with the existing architecture of the house in order to make this proposal. So the existing house is just a small house. This is the drawings of the existing house, and our proposal is basically to add a small addition onto the back, expand the kitchen, small dining area that opens up, living room, put a small bathroom up here, add a master bathroom, closet, and another bathroom, and just expand the bathroom up there. The idea, the concept that I was doing was basically just there's a front dormer on the house. I was basically turning this rear extension into a rear dormer that aligns with the front dormer. So conceptually, there's a front dormer, and I've made this rear extension in line with that, and just sort of an extension of the dormer. The finishes, the design, the style, the proportions are all in relation to the existing architecture of the house. The materials are matching the house exactly. Planning on using Marvin windows on the project, and matching the roof shingles that are currently there. The patio slate is just matching a bluestone style, and white stucco. The house is currently a white stucco, and this is just some simple renderings, just to give an idea of what we are proposing and how it would be viewed from the rear of the house. So with that, I would love any questions or any comments.
The doors you're showing on the addition, are they the bifolding doors that you showed in the previous slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That's it.
Okay, and we're keeping the windows the same 6/1?
Yes, wherever. Yeah. This is a new window that matches the same on the house.
Mitchell, what say you?
I'm sorry, what?
Can we go back to the rendering?
Sure. The renderings may not, like, they're more to give you guys a concept. They may not be one. There may be some plants that don't exactly represent or things like that, but it's more conceptual.
Did you have a concern, Mitch?
Well, I mean, in the first place, the interior, you did a great job. I love it. I mean, and like shoehorning that little bedroom in there is awesome. I'm not in love with that long kind of raked roof, that's and I understand. I mean, there's two houses down on Maple. There's that house that's got the addition. You had that streetscape with the sort of a hip roof that's sort of a little bit like a lighthouse or a lantern. Did you consider doing that as a?
We looked at a lot of
I'm sure
different
you
options.
did. Yeah.
We looked at a lot of different options. I am mostly a modernist. I did try to have a flat roof on the addition as well. I was saying, what about a little modern addition in the rear?
Yeah.
And this is what the client chose. So that we had a little gable, had that. So this is but I was also saying it's the rear of the house. It's not visible from the street. And it also appears to be, reasonably non-offensive. So that was, obviously it could be, changed, but I don't think it would lessen the impact. The fact is, it stepped back on both sides, so you could see in the bottom.
That's why the rendering is more effective.
Yeah.
In the story.
Yeah, but but it is stepped back from both sides, and it does sort of match the dormer on the front of the house. So I didn't,
I was just going to say, I mean, as you mentioned, these are small houses and you want to make them livable. It's also, you're showing us a very sort of open neighborhood in that rendering. And of course, they aren't open like that, as we know. There are a lot of.
No, yeah. There's actually,
Right.
I just had this conversation. Yeah.
Right.
They literally just said, it's like, are we taking all the trees down? And I said, no, it's just, you wouldn't be able to see the rendering if I showed the trees. So
yes, exactly. So I think, you're talking about something that's got a lot of screening in every direction. And I'm a modernist as well. You did the house on Broadway, I think, didn't you?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. I love this. I think it's great that you're really giving them the living space that people need to live in these houses. They're not, for a family, they are on the smaller side. So,
I agree with you, Gail.
yeah.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? Mitch, do you have anything else that you're,
No, I think it's great
okay,
otherwise.
all righty. All right, I will ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Yeah.
all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Nothing. Okay, we got a 5-0.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
You got it.
We're down to two. Two of them are big ones, though. ARB 22-12, 39 Fargo Lane, new house. I thought this was a Malone deal, right?
It is.
Yep.
Thought so. Ooh. Hi, John.
Hey, how's everyone?
All right.
Good.
John Malone, Ferguson Malone Architecture, representing the Leonards. So this is a project for reconstruction of a house on Fargo Lane. The client has been looking for a classical house. It's relatively simple. The language of it is classical, and we were trying to, the interior is a bit more modern and simplified, so that's where a lot of the details are coming from. This is the rendering that we updated that matches the elevations and drawings that you guys have currently in front of you. And then the rear elevation you can see is very simple. In terms of the drawing set we have here, you can see the low slope, or the relatively low slope of the roof was driven by trying to limit the impact on views to the rear from the rear neighbors, and also sort of the stepping down of the garage and the wing to the left also was driven by that. The site finishes, there's a swimming pool. Again, it's basically just a bluestone approach of a simple metal ornamental fence at the pool, monolithic treads up to the pool area. In terms of the exterior finishes of the house, we'll give you these long books. We have, and I heard people ask about that, we do have the physical samples. In the future, we could, start giving you guys those as part of the, if we're going to stay remote, as part of the submission and leave them in the building department.
I'm hoping we're not going to do that, but
Yeah, right.
it's always a possibility.
This is the roof is an asphalt roof that is intended to provide some kind of shadow to simulate slate. Again, you can see because of the relationship to the street, the roof there's not a lot of roof on it and a low slope on it.
Uh-huh.
The stucco is a La Habra stucco that's here it looks like it has a lot of pebbles in it. It's a very smooth finish, and then there's a cast stone which is a slightly different color that is smoother. So the cast stone is really just associated with the base. Here at the bottom, sort of the water table base that drops around the building.
All right.
Otherwise, it's a stucco building with I think we're indicating not AZAC anymore, but I think the trim that we're using is polyash, which is the boral trim, which is more paintable than the AZAC.
Uh-huh.
And then for windows, it's the Marvin the mid-range Marvin, the Marvin Essentials. So the exterior, the windows are a fiberglass exterior. They're going to be a bronze color. In general, there are divided lights in the front of the building and not in the rear of the building. And then there are,
Say it again, John. They're divided in the front, but not the back.
yeah, there's a sort of a modern division in the front of the building, and there's no divided lights in the rear. So on the side elevations, you know, there's also divided light anywhere where it can be seen from the street except for the rear yard.
And are those the actual lamps that you're going to use?
Yeah, so these are the lamps that are rendered.
Obviously, dark sky compliant.
Yeah, they're dark sky compliant. All of them. They have basically the LED element is above the top of this
border.
here.
Okay. Do you have any other exterior lights, John? Front door?
There's
Two more of those, I guess.
There's two more of these here. They're around the rear, and then on the side, which isn't shown in this rendering, on the rear side of the garage is, or on the north side of the garage is this guy, which is just a very simple, just to light the
walkway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think on this elevation here, they're shown. These ones here are the simpler fixture. Again, I don't think that's visible anywhere.
All right. Anybody, questions, concerns?
I have a question. Well, let me just say, looks great. Love the rendering. Why did you eliminate the window lights or the muntins in the rear for like 6 windows?
It was a client decision, and there was a lot of discussion on that, Mitch, but they want to actually save the slight bit of money there, but they also wanted it not divided back there. They really, the interiors in there, the intention is for it to be more modern. So on the interiors of the house, there's 2 rooms flanking the main entrance and a stair, and that's going to be more classical. And then the detail is going to get simplified as it goes into the back and the family room, and those windows are in the family room where there's going to be a more modern aesthetic.
John, do you have an aerial view of the house, or something that we can see whether that's really going to be an effect?
An aerial, like I don't think we have an aerial. We have a site plan we can look at in terms of where it is in the site.
Okay.
So the cargo is here.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have access to it diagonally as you're on the street this way. And then the rear faces a pretty deep wooded lot. So the non-divided lights are along the back. So the side elevation here, where you can see a glancing view of it here, has divided lights.
How big is the lot, John?
I think it's close to 2 acres.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I went over to look at it, and from the front profile, I knew it had to open up. I didn't go in the backyard.
Obviously, yeah. From
Yeah.
From Fargo, it's deceiving.
Very.
Yeah, we're hoping that the scale of the house is pretty compact. It's a lot of square footage, but I think overall the scale of it and the simple volumes.
John, can you speak to the pool and its situation and how it's guarded?
Yeah, so it has a fence just around the pool. So the rendering that we were looking at, we didn't show that because it was distracting. But there's a fence on this flat area here, and that fence will be the a simple pool fence like this.
Okay, 5 feet tall.
Yeah, I think it's shielded from view everywhere, even without the planting. There is some planting on the back edge.
And the planting is to guard against what?
This
is there the aqueduct or something?
Yeah, so the planting here is there's houses behind.
Oh, okay.
So there's rear yards of other neighbors. So this is the privacy planting that's going in place along here. And then this is another layer of privacy, just,
That's what I figured.
I think it backs to Meadow, right?
yeah, that's another brick there.
Yeah, it's the
Meadowbrook,
next
yeah.
street. Oh, Meadowbrook, yeah.
Yeah, you scared me there.
But you know, I drove over particularly because the style of the house is so different, you know, and you know, I know that neighborhood, you kind of go to all extremes, but it seems really appropriate for where it's going. So nice job, John.
Just quickly on here, if you were over at the site, this is the outline of the existing house. You can see that, this dotted line here.
Okay.
So you see it actually is further back on the lot, which we think will help a little bit.
Okay.
You know, because the existing house is sort of up here.
That's interesting to know.
Right, so that at least it'll give you a little bit more space rather than have it crowded up.
Okay. Anybody, any additional questions?
My only question was, in addition to the pool fence, what other fencing is proposed?
There's some railings that are associated with the stairwell. Let me just see if there's anything else. I think there is. There's new fencing here. And here. There's some existing fence around the perimeter of the yard, and the only new fence is in these two areas here.
Okay. And nothing in the front.
Nothing, yeah, nothing in the front. There's yeah, I don't know I think it's gone. Maybe it's still there. There's like a split rail or something there.
What you have a sample of that if it's different from the pool fence?
No, it's the same as the pool fence.
Okay.
Is the balustrade the same, like the one over the entry porch?
I think it is aluminum, so it's basically this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So the one over the entry fence is going to be a wrought iron. But it'll be the same color, Mitch. You know, well, actually, no, this will be black. The other one will probably be a little bit a gray black, a little bit different, but close.
Okay. Anybody? Any additional questions? Okay. Well, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, and Deb, I'm gonna rely on you quite a bit because of the historical nature of the process.
Okay.
We have a request from the planning board to speak to the issue of demo in the historic district. And they are not complete with the planning board process. However, before they go on, they want to make sure that we will agree to the demo process and how it is affected by the historic district issues. So I don't even see a project number. So it's 20 Elm Park, which comes as a surprise to most people. Didn't even know Elm Park existed, but they want to put an addition on, but we have to speak to the issue of the historic district demolition plan. So if we can hear from the applicant, that would be good.
Good evening, Architectural Review Board. My name is, can you guys hear me, by the way? I want to make
Yes.
sure.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Okay, great. My name is George Alisandrados. I am an associate at Keene and Dean. We represent the owner of the property and the applicant, Tom Willingham. He should be on this call on this meeting with us. Joining us is also Mark Schulman and Nicholas Marks from Design Development, the architects on this.
Mark is on, but I don't see the owner.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
they didn't have their hands raised. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Apologies. And we also should have Chris Munch. He's from Graybook. He's the project manager on this project. Now, Chairperson Rasulo, you basically summarized everything I was going to say by way of introduction to this. This is 20 Elm Park. It's off Main Street. You go to South Dearman, and it's a little further, just a little further back there. It's sort of tucked away. And like you said, we had one meeting before the planning board, and then the demolition contributing building aspect with those definitions in the village code came up. So we are here before you asking for approval to proceed with this and return to the planning board. The work that constitutes a demolition, it's not demolition in the common everyday sense. We're not demolishing anything. It mainly has to do with some windows on the west side of the house. There's no actual additions or anything like that going on, other than some window relocations and I guess additions of windows. But it's not a huge, there's not a wing being extended to it. So with that being said, I will hand it off to the more appropriate people to discuss the project. That's Mark Schulman from Design Development, and he'll be able to walk you through it, had some elevations, part of the submission, and we'll be here to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, George. Mark here. Nick works with me as well from Design Development. So we are the architects. And so as George said, we submitted an application to Planning Board, and they have requested that we kick this over to you to take a look at the demolition issue. So what I would like to do is just take you through, and I'll take you through the plan. I'll take you through essentially what's existing and what's proposed, and then I guess we can have a conversation about demolition. So what you see here. So I guess first of all, I don't want to make any assumptions, but you may all be familiar with this house. It is obviously, well, it's in the village, so it's historic. It was constructed as a 3-car garage back in the early 1900s as part of the Burnham Estate, which is now the Irvington Estates Co-op or apartment building next door. And I guess over the last 100 years, it's probably had 5 major renovations to it. And but it's historic, and we have, with Tom purchasing it, we have respected the existing architecture and style of the project, but I'll get to that in a moment. So right now, essentially, there are a couple of major moves. One is that they're looking to essentially create a master bedroom suite on the ground floor. With that, we are looking to extend or build an addition. And Nick, if you can just highlight that area, please, just so they can see where the footprint extension is. But it's on the ground floor.
Proposed first floor?
Yes, please. So here is all right, so this is the proposed. And Nick will highlight there. So you can see where the master bedroom is. So a portion of that master bedroom and of that closet is a single story extension that comes off the front of the building. And we're making interior modifications. And then we are reconfiguring both staircases. So there are 2 wings on this building, two-story wings. So where Nick is highlighting there in yellow is we're actually extending out onto the footprint of what is the existing covered porch with a new configured stair. And that's all internal. I think your primary concerns, correct me if I'm wrong, is on the exterior. We're also adding, we're punching through the kitchen area with 2 new windows and a door that takes you to a landing and steps down to the backyard. And we're adjacent there. So just to the top of the page there is the aqueduct. So we are sensitive to what's happening along that western facade. And I think that's where the primary concern is. The other thing that I'll just point out is that at the entryway, we are looking, so right now, and we'll get to the elevations in a moment, but right now there's a flat roof. There is no extension or coverage over that entrance. So we're looking to actually reconfigure that flat roof in the style of the existing roof and provide some coverage. So when you walk up, with your keys and your packages, you're not getting rained on and you're protected from the elements. We're also extending that patio now. So we've now created a little bit more of a courtyard effect. And the proposal is to extend that patio. I will tell you that our initial feedback from planning board, we had more patio space off the master, and the patio there that you see was probably 25% larger. And we also had some patio space in the backyard. We've as a compromise, we've eliminated that because that all counted towards coverage.
Right.
And so as a compromise, we have essentially modified this plan. This is not the submission, the initial submission that was made to planning board. We've already made some modifications. So now I'll just take you to the elevations.
Just, which patio are you taking away, the back or the front?
We had 2 patios. So in our initial presentation, Nick, if you can just show where the extent of the patio. So we used to have a patio there. That was in the initial presentation in the back area coming off the deck. And
there was another one that this courtyard extended out another 5 or 6 feet.
Oh, okay.
So we've eliminated those areas in yellow as they impacted our coverage calculations. So we have reduced that down.
Okay.
If we can go to the elevations. So what we've done here is that we are showing the existing elevation and then on the same page, the proposed elevation. So on the north elevation, might be a little bit hard to see, I think, clarity of the drawing, but so that is an existing, so that was an addition that was built back, I think around 2010. It was a 2-car garage with a master bedroom on the 2nd floor. And what you can see there is that there's essentially 4 windows on that 2nd floor and a single window on the ground floor. And on our proposal immediately to the right, we're looking to put essentially 2 windows over 2 windows. So we're looking to relocate 2 of the windows from above, locate them down below. If it says E, it's existing, N is new, and R is relocated. So that's how we are keying in the windows, so you get some sense of what we're proposing to do.
Just so you know, I think the renovation was done in 2008.
Was it 2008? Okay.
I believe it was.
All right. And then, so what you can see there, you can see the side of the existing front entryway, and it's got a flat roof, and you see sort of that pilaster detail on the end. So the flat roof, we thought was not architecturally consistent with the existing architecture. So we put on a Dutch hip to tie in with the rest or with the existing roofs, and we've extended it out to provide, again, some coverage at the front entryway. And you can see we've modified that window and that facade to be slightly taller in configuration. And then all of the windows that sit on the extended portion of the building to the right are all existing to remain. So, and then down below, you can see the extension of the new addition, which is a single story, again, hip roof configuration. There is 1 single new window there on that north elevation.
Okay.
All right. And then, so this is the east elevation. So up top is the existing, and down below is the new proposed. So if it's got a lighter shading, that's existing. So here what you see really stands out is the new roof versus the flat roof over the entryway. So you see yeah, you see the Dutch roof there. And then the extension that projects out to the right in front of that two-story space is a single-story space there.
Okay.
All right, flipping around. So the west elevation, so this is the elevation that faces the aqueduct. And in this configuration, like, I think you'll have to zoom in a little bit hard to read. Please, thank you. So if you can just scroll back down so we can see the top, I just want to show the existing. So on the existing, so this facade essentially sits right on the property line on the aqueduct. And then to the right is a wall with a door in it that separates the backyard area from the aqueduct space as well. And what we're proposing to do is we're proposing the new staircase is going to basically take up that volume of space where the existing porch is. So there's a double porch configuration on the second floor and first floor. So we're enclosing that space. We're putting on another gable roof and new windows on that extension. And again, it only goes out to the existing porch line. And then to the far left, we are replacing the two windows up on the second floor with sort of a 3-bay window configuration. So on that second level, you actually have views of the river there. It's the only place in the house where you actually get views of the river. So we wanted to take advantage of that. So we're opening that up. And then there are a couple of relocated windows down on the ground floor there that tie into the new configuration of the master suite. We moved some walls around in that master suite. So that is essentially the extent of changes that we're proposing. What do we got here? I'm sorry, this is the south elevation. Thanks, Nick. So again, existing. So here's where you can see in section, we've showed the center of the aqueduct. There is a little bit of slope as you get up to the property, and then you've got a 7-foot plus high wall. So you can't see into the backyard. Your sideline is above it. And you see the porch there in that configuration. And then down below, what we're proposing essentially is 2 new windows and the door and the steps down to the lawn area below. And you can also see the extension of the stair as well.
And that's just the interior courtyard elevation of the addition.
Right. It's a south elevation of that extension that faces the courtyard.
Okay.
I do have the model, Mark. I don't know if you.
Yeah, let's show it. It's much easier to understand. But that's a good way to show the sort of the comparison. So what you'll see here, Nick, if you can just sort of highlight, so that front area there, the covered entryway was a flat roof, and it's now again this Dutch gable that gives us again coverage, and you'll see the extension of that ground floor master bedroom extension, and the courtyard that's created. That's okay, and then there we go. So again, we've got a little bit of a courtyard. There's some nice exterior space we can take advantage of. There are 2 existing French doors that lead out to that. It's a very small patio space right now. We're expanding that out to align with that first step up onto the entryway. And then the other sort of axon or perspective from the view. So here you can see again that the existing structure sits on the aqueduct.
Too zoomed in.
You can see so that existing wall and the door will remain the same. And there you can see the stair extension, and then the 2 new windows and door out onto the terrace, or I'm sorry, that small deck in the back. And the new window configurations in the back of the building to the left, the existing second floor and ground floor.
So those, the railings on those porches and the railings down below are all new, or are they existing?
It's existing, so we're tying the new railings to match existing.
Okay.
So getting back to the initial reason we're here, the planning board thought that there, and we've reviewed the definition of zoning in the historic district, and we don't see where that is applicable here. We're not, and again, when I look at the definition, section 9-11D, it says notwithstanding subsection D1 and 2, where the demolition is of substantial portion of the building, rather than of the entire building, the applicant must demonstrate that the demolition and its proposed replacement, if any, will not be incompatible with the historic character of the building, nor of the historic district. So I think the first point here is that there is no substantial demolition. We're adding to the building and we're making some modifications to the fenestration. And the second point is we think that what we're proposing is very much in keeping with existing architecture.
Okay, before I throw it to the board for questions and comments, Sarah, can you confirm that the publication was made in the newspaper 10 days ago, or at least 10 days ago?
I'll have to go through the submission.
Okay, and also that the signs facing each public street was done also?
Yeah, the sign was done because I know they picked up. I just looked through my emails and just I'm pretty sure I have that information.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. If you can look for that, I appreciate it. Meantime, I'm gonna start asking questions or having the board of ARB to ask questions and clear up. And I'd like to start with Deb. Deb's our historic district person.
Sure. So just to be clear, so tonight is the public hearing as it's required under the code, Rick?
Yes,
Okay.
it'll start after we make our comments.
Okay. So I know the provision of the code well, and I definitely am struggling with the application of the code to this particular project for a number of reasons. And for those on the board who aren't as familiar with the code, two of the key words that are used are demolish and substantial portion. And I know the applicant is familiar with this, but just so the rest of the board is, this house is clearly within the historic district. It's identified by its location at 20 Elm. So it clearly falls within the historic district. And when we look to see whether this design or this proposed design is considered a demolition, you have to look at the definition of demolish, which is to pull down, raise, destroy, or remove all or substantial portion of a building. And then you have to look at the definition of substantial portion, which I'm just going to read into the record since this is the public hearing, that's any part of an exterior wall, porch, or portico facing a public way, and I'll return to that, or 50% or more of the footprint of a building as measured in plan, or 50% or more of the exterior walls of a building. So this particular project kind of makes me pause because I'm not too sure what the facing public way is. Is it the aqueduct or is it the front of the house? So its location, we need to really think about what is being done for the areas that are public facing. And then I don't see how what's being proposed is anything of 50% more of the footprint of the building as measured in the plan, or 50% or more of the exterior walls of the building, which includes the windows and the doors. So I'm just going to say at the outset, I don't see the 50% either way applying. And I'd like to hear from the architect again, when he goes back to present it, what the public facing portions, what's being changed. I will say that when I step back completely and away from the code, I struggle with this in the application of demolition because this is the carriage house, as I understand it, the original Redwood Mansion. And the original mansion was an 1870s folk Victorian style. And I understand that back in 2008, they took the carriage house and tried to incorporate some of that style. And I'm not even sure what I'm looking at because I can't compare it to the original. So this is a unique property. In other words, that the code and the laws, I understand it was really written for more of the traditional historic houses that are within the historic district. This particular location on this particular street, and then this particular house on that street, to me is a challenge. It's not clear that I'd have to almost say that I'm not clear that this local law applies to it. But let's back up if I could. I'd like the architect just to show me the front facing public way changes that are being proposed. So both from the aqueduct and from the front of the house before I kind of go any further.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate that comment. I feel the same. So it's a great question. I think my understanding, and Nick, I don't know if we have an aerial photograph of this, but this is a very unique property in that it's very hidden at the end of the street. So it's a very large site compared to many in the village, and it's very secluded. So I think that the only public view is from the aqueduct. You really can't see it from any other location. Nick, can you go to an overall site plan, maybe off the planning board submission?
I'm actually pulling up Google Earth as we speak. Let me reshare my screen.
Yep. So,
okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is the house here.
Right, so that's the house. So the house is really bordered. So you can see the aqueduct there, just to the left. And we're bordered by the apartment building down to the right.
14 South.
Yep, there's a residential building to the east. Nick, if you can just highlight that, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
It sits there. And then there's one just to the north, the backyard. So I think the only public view is from the aqueduct. And Nick, maybe you can even just drop down onto the aqueduct if you can. You can probably get a view from that. Maybe not. We have photos though, because we can share the photos with you. There's a photo. So we think that this is probably the public view, or I should say the only public view that you have of that.
And from that view, what is your proposal? What are you changing?
Yeah. All right. So Nick, can you go back to the, so on this view here, so this massing that you see right in front of you that's covered in landscape, some window modifications. Right. So on the map, so on the whole massing to the left, the only change is the window fenestration on the second story, and the two windows on the first story directly below. So that entire building massing there, those are the only modifications there. And then to the far right, you can see there's two sets of French doors, and you can see essentially the balconies that sit out front there. So we're enclosing a stair in a portion of that balcony area, and that is the extension there. So we're adding volume to the face of that existing building in that location. We're not changing the wall or the door. And then I don't know if you'll see it, but on the south elevation of the existing building, which is where our kitchen is located, thank you. So on the bottom left there, we're adding two windows and a door from that kitchen area there. So I think they will be publicly visible, as you can see from that sight line, from the center of the aqueduct. You can see a person standing there. We'll be able to see the new windows within that massing.
Okay, so I think the first portion then, just so our board is clear, is that if we're looking to see if a substantial portion, as the term is used in the code, is being impacted, I think we should agree that it is, because I only have to find if it's public facing that any part of an exterior wall, porch, or portico facing a public way is being changed. So I think we are rightfully before us for demolition if that is actually facing the aqueduct, in my opinion, because you don't have to have 50%. Does that make sense? And the reason I'm pointing that out, it doesn't dictate the outcome of how the board's going to vote. It's just that if we find that you fall within the definition, and clearly the building department thought you did, or you wouldn't be here, we have to make a finding. So I just wanted to be clear before we go any further that we actually had a public facing portion that was being seen, that was being changed. And I think you just demonstrated that it is in fact going to be seen from the aqueduct. Is that
Correct.
fair?
That's fair, yes.
Okay. All right. So is the board on board? In other words, Rick, are we so
Yeah,
far?
no, I
Okay.
get it. I
Okay,
get
I
it.
just want to make sure we're all on the same page about that. It doesn't have to be 50%.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, the other part I'm struggling with is I don't know what the original carriage house looked like. I don't have any idea of what the original Redwood mansion looked like. I know that it was described as a folk Victorian style. So maybe Mitch can kind of chime in here. So I'm not clear on whether the proposed changes are still in keeping with that concept that was originally done back in 2008. And I'd be curious what the rest of the board thought. I understand what you're trying to achieve, and I certainly can appreciate that you want the master bedroom on the ground floor. I'm just being honest that I'm not sure what you're doing is in keeping with what the prior architect was trying to do.
I think what might help is to look at some of the existing photographs. So you could take a look at this and compare to essentially the massing. So you'll see it's an interesting finish on the existing house. So it's got this very rusticated stucco type finish. The roof it's a Dutch hip, and with the rafter tails that extend beyond, which is probably one of the nicer architectural features of the building. And then you can see the trim piece, and then you'll see the fenestration, which is pretty consistent. It's got a divided light above, so our proposal is to keep the existing. So now here's a good photo in that lower right hand corner. So or even the lower left, both images at the bottom. You can see what was done in 2008. They introduced this new foyer, but I personally don't believe that it is consistent with the rest of the architecture. It's got a very sort of flat contemporary type roof. So here we added a similar Dutch gable onto that, which also allows us to put an extension or a cover over that front porch. And then to the right there in that, so that upper right hand image. So the proposal is to extend the ground floor out and put the same Dutch hip roof on top of that to tie in to match the rest of the roofs. So you can just flip that around. Right. Thank you, Nick. So it certainly is in keeping with the existing architecture. Again, I know that this building has undertaken, I'm aware of 5 some major renovations over the 100 years, but with what we have to work with the existing condition, we're very consistent with the architecture.
Okay. Mitch, you have any comments?
I have a few questions more than comments. The roof, can you actually get into, that's a SketchUp model, by the way?
Yes, it is.
Can you get into that and show that to us so that we can look at the the pavilion, the roof of the entry pavilion? The way it engages the rest of the roof isn't clear to me.
Nick, can you flip around? I don't think that I'm not sure that we have a live model that we can share with you, but I think, Nick, can you flip that around in the back so you can see the back part of that? Yeah, you can sort of see it there, but it is, yeah,
So the way all those roofs come together is a little bit, looks like a water problem to me, but I might be wrong about that. Did you consider extending that roof back to make it sort of like an L shape? Yeah, exactly that one. The ridge line back into the body of the, over the kitchen there.
Yeah, can you flip back to the front? So I think if it got to be large, and you end up pushing that roof right up against the window to that massing on the left. We also thought it was a little bit heavy, so we were trying to keep a lighter, kind of a lighter massing to that. And so there is a cricket that ties it to the back, and we'll have to have a cricket off that. Yeah.
No, I see that, the little white cricket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's what I will also tell you. We're only before the planning board, and we were not anticipating being before architectural review board, as we need to go back. So I know that we need to come back to you with a formal presentation, at which time we'll, I think this will probably be developed slightly more on the architecture. And we can have the appropriate views on some of these details worked out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. So, I mean, something maybe to consider, and I'm sure you have. And so I'm not like bringing anything to the table. The roof cuts that you made at the second story windows behind the roof of the master.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that would be a place to kind of duplicate or pair the pavilion effect of that 4-hip roof.
Yeah.
And put a cricket low in the same, I don't know. I mean,
I think that's a good idea. I think that's definitely worth looking
because that's very awkward, to say the least. I mean, down the road. And then my only other question, can we look at it in the back again real quick, Nicholas?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing, there's something that doesn't sit well about the 3 equal windows that you put up in that with that great view. They feel like they're coming out of. I mean, there's no. Maybe it's because it's tripartite, and everything else seems either to be 2 or 4, with the exception of the triple window that's going to be now covered with the master bedroom.
Well, the only thing, so the interesting thing we were looking at is, so there is a triple window on the ground floor over where the living space is below. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And we thought that might be, again, we were trying to find a way to get as much glass, to be perfectly honest, to get as much glass as we could up into that space. So there is sort of a triple window configuration below on that ground floor in that primary living space.
Facing north?
Facing west.
But that's going to be gone now, right?
No. Flip that back around, Nick. Can you please point out the 3 windows on the ground floor?
On the model, I'm sorry.
Yeah, on the model, please. See the 3 windows on the ground floor in the main living area, in the kitchen? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So,
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'll buy it.
Okay.
Do you have a photo of this from the aqueduct side of the existing?
Yep. That would be these 2 images here. So this would be, this bottom left image is that side of concern that Mitch is talking about.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with Mitch. I it doesn't sit well with the three windows. I think you're losing some character that exists at this time with this kind of oddly placed windows. It's always stood out to me, that wall right there. So it's kind of a big change to put that kind of glass in at the top.
So I have, all right, I appreciate that. I do. What do you think of the existing window? So here's what I would also notice, and I don't know, Nick, if you can zoom in on that, but you can actually see on that facade, there were bigger windows there that were
Yeah.
infill. Yeah. So I think at one point, so they never aligned, number one. And at some point, there must have been a taller window on both the first and second floor that was filled in. So you can
actually see it.
Yeah, you can actually see it through the stucco. So it's it's a little bit of a, nothing really lines up. And it's a little bit of an odd fenestration. So if you were to look at the interior, you could see how our windows really do tie in, if it's worth just showing you. So yeah, if you could just zoom in on that side over there. So there we have, so there's a den, and then there is so we've got the window second from the right that aligns with the hall or the gallery. So as you walk down the hallway, it's perfectly centered on that window. And then we wanted to make that, so there is some symmetry with the window to the right, which is also centered on the den. So that probably led more to the configuration of the two windows on the ground floor. And then if you go up to the second floor, Nick. So that, yeah, all right, just go back to the existing. So that's the existing configuration upstairs right now. So there's a small bedroom and a bathroom with a toilet squeezed in there. And then in the new configuration, we've just got this wonderful, big window, which actually is not, it's not.
Yeah,
shown.
that's four. It
Yeah,
should be
four.
three.
Should be three. But but the size of the opening, I think, is accurate. And again, it's the only place it really allows a view to the river.
Did you find it to be too repetitious? Because when this one picks up the four windows from the garage, that wing on the south side, right?
Balcony window.
That was the original idea. Yeah, the ones with on the
Oh,
porch.
this is the proposed, but yeah.
No, in the back. Oop.
This one.
Nope. No, I meant go to your model again.
On the balconies, right?
Yes, that's right.
On the back, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are doors. I understand that, but I guess, I mean, the four windows might, notwithstanding that there are three windows in the kitchen and they look very handsome. I'm just thinking that upstairs, they,
Think a four window. We can certainly look at that.
I mean, it's,
sure. No,
I don't want to beat this up.
No,
No. I appreciate the comments. All good comments, and I think we can, we can develop both options, and we can take a look at that with you.
Right, that'll be for if this project gets back to us.
Right,
We're looking to determine the demo aspect of this particular project, and Deb went ahead and tried to outline for us what we should be looking for, what we can look for, what our actual mission is today. And I'd like to hear more about, if there is any more about the demo of this particular building. And it could be from either a board member or the applicants.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as what our role is tonight, if this is the public hearing, is we are finding that it's properly before us as a demolition because it is an historic property that's identified within the historic district, and therefore, unfortunately, this design in and of itself is, at least according to the code, considered a demolition because a substantial portion of it is being redesigned. But what's a little confusing for us is that usually if there's a demolition, you have to make a finding as to whether the demolition is being sought for safety reasons or otherwise. Clearly, this is not for safety reasons. So the other part of the code that applies is you have to figure out whether if there's a non-safety reason, which there isn't as well. So the only thing I can say, Rick, is that what we can find tonight is that that we approve the demolition because there is a replacement plan being set forth before us, and we are agreeing in concept to the replacement plan. We're not approving the design. We're just saying that the replacement plan is sufficient for us to approve the demolition, and then our decision is technically just approving the application for demolition. So that is the only thing we need to do tonight. We're not actually signing off on this design.
That's correct.
Good.
We're 100% correct. And I will ask if there's any other comments from the board on the issue of demolition. If not, I will open up the public hearing. No comments from the board. I will ask that the public hearing be opened. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Sarah, does anybody out there that wants to chime in on whether this is or is not a demo?
Nobody's raising their hand to speak, and there are no comments in the chat.
Okay. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So now to the matter of whether or not the ARB is satisfied whether this is in fact a demo that should not go forward or should not be approved or should be approved. Do I have anybody willing to make a proposal as to whether they feel it is or is not approved?
I can make a motion for the ARB to approve the application for demolition. And the reason given is that the replacement plan as presented tonight is sufficient for us, for the applicant to move forward for further approvals. The only caveat I will add, Rick, is that the way I understand the code is that the planning board or zoning board approvals are supposed to be given before, but we can just make a note that we understand that those approvals have not been given yet. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's my motion. We can, I'll make a motion for the ARB to approve the application for demolition. The reason being is that the replacement plan as presented tonight is sufficient for us to move forward with the application.
So I will accept the motion to approve as discussed. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion to approve.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
To the entire board, and we hope we'll be back and we'll be able to discuss this further with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
I'm sure you will. Anybody, any housekeeping questions, concerns, issues?
Deborah, I just think that your insight is going to be really missed.
Yeah, it's only because thank you. I appreciate that. I actually spent a lot of time with many others going through the historic district. And I will say that one of the things I will try to clarify is that law is confusing when it is applied to property such as this. And I've said it before, and I'm going to have to say it again, that I think it has to be reviewed again by legal.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. It will make our lives a whole lot easier. And if anybody who's gone through the demolitions of buildings in the historic district overlay, historic overlay district, will know the whole first page is almost a moot in every application that have come in front of us. I understand why they're there, but they are there to protect something that has happened before in Irvington, and that was a a total dismantling of a building that should never have been taken down. So you can understand why we're concerned about things of this nature.
Yeah, and I will add that for this applicant, it's an important application. It's an important property, but it is an application that makes you re-examine the code. And I do think that this application is a good example of why the code should be reviewed again.
Hear, hear.
And with that being said, sorry to interject because I'm still
That's all
on.
right.
With that being said, we absolutely had the same kind of conversation. And when I spoke to Mary Ann Stekich, the village attorney, we also had the same conversation. And one of the issues is when you hear demolition, right? You think it's a big project or knocking
Absolutely.
down. And the whole, not debate, but the whole conversation we had today about what exactly is going on, we had to sort of nail down. We're relocating some windows and that, and to everyday person, relocating a window isn't a quote unquote demolition. So we appreciate that we were able to discuss this tonight, and that we're not going crazy and thinking we're missing something.
Welcome to our world.
Not envious whatsoever.
Okay, anything further from anybody?
It's a
I
great
will-
property. If everybody didn't see it, hopefully they will.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in
Second.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good
Good night,
night.
guys.
Righto.